Hi, happy belated 2017. I have appropriately blanged out my face with these hand-drawn temporary tattoos from Mr. Kate. And no, this is not a sponsor video because she don't know who the hell I am, but I just think they're really cool, obvi. Okay, now on to the reason why you probably clicked this video, which is the title. But you're probably wondering, is that clickbait? No, it's not, because I don't roll like that. So I am changing my name for the second time in my life. Let's talk about it. The first time I changed my name was when I got married. Why did I change my name at marriage? Well, for one thing, I felt like it was tradition. I mean, traditions are nice. There are a lot of nice traditions, and I grew up in South Carolina. I can't think of anybody that I graduated high school with that didn't change their name. I mean, the women, that is. The men, of course, kept their names. Plus, I really like the idea of this cohesive family unit, and we all have the same last name. Like, that is a nice image with pixie dust around it, right? Is that a normal thing to say? What is pixie dust? Another thing is, my name before I got married was Waters, which is from my father, and I didn't really feel that attached to that name because my father wasn't really in my life that much, and in fact, most of my life I thought he was kind of a dick because he had been really violent to my mother, and so I was like, psh, I can get rid of the name Waters, then fine, I don't want to have anything to do with it, bye. So here's the thing, 5 years after getting married, I do not feel cool with having my husband's last name. To be honest, I have like a legit identity crisis going on about it that is like increasingly this civil war. Since launching this business Forward Films with my husband, I've realized I need a personal outlet, a creative outlet that is just under my name and not necessarily under this business brand. And when I think about doing that and what I want to say, it's all about empowering women and empowering underrepresented groups to be whatever they want to be in the world. And when I think about that message, it totally is not in sync with having my husband's last name and what that represents, and here's why. This whole practice of a woman taking a man's name came from a system called coverture. Under coverture, once a woman got married, she could no longer own property. Anything she owned was under her husband's name, including real estate or intellectual property, which meant that if she invented something cool, that was property of her husband's. Under coverture, a woman could not vote for herself. Only her husband could vote for her, which meant that the views of married women could not be represented in the same way that men's views were. And also under coverture, once a woman was married, she could not go to court for herself. Only her husband could do that for her, which meant that if somebody violated her or did something illegal to her, it was up to her husband to decide whether to do something about it. Coverture basically means, if I may quote this really old white guy in this really old book, that the very being or legal existence of the woman is suspended during the marriage. Women were essentially lumped in with men's property.
She performs everything under the influence or the cover of her husband or her lord.
Now hold up, Mr. William Blackstone, because don't nobody own me. Don't nobody stamp out my existence, and you can trust that I'm going to be throwing down just as much influence as my partner in a marriage. Now, I understand that this system doesn't mean that every woman who was under coverture was treated like crap, and it also doesn't mean that every woman who takes her husband's name nowadays is saying, hey, let's revive coverture. But what I'm saying is that this practice of taking her husband's name was born out of a sexist system that was unfair. I know as well as anyone that it's easy to get swept up in tradition, but we have to ask ourselves, how is that tradition serving us in the modern day? How is it helping us? How is it possibly hurting us? According to a recent Google survey of people in the United States, 7 out of 10 women still change their last name to their husband's name at marriage. What message is that sending little girls about their worth compared to little boys? It's really easy for a woman to change her last name to her husband's name at marriage in every state in the US, but only 9 states even have laws on the books that would let a man change his name to his wife's last name without a whole lot of proposition of court and fees, etc. For women, it's just another box on the marriage certificate. This practice of name changing is based in an old sexist system, but it is still so entrenched in our current reality. In 2012, a South Carolina man wanted to change his name to his wife's name at marriage, and the DMV initially denied his request, saying he couldn't even do that. In 2013, a Florida DMV took it one step further when a guy tried to change his name, and they accused him of fraud. Now look, I am not saying that men should have to change their names to women's names. I think that everybody should have the choice to have whatever name they want to. But right now, the current systems, they put pressure on women to make a decision about whether or not they're going to change their name at marriage. And that's a pressure that men do not face. And all of this is based off an old sexist system that essentially treated women like property. So yeah, bottom line is I cannot feel cool with having a last name that is my husband's. But what are you changing it to? You might be asking. That's a really good question. I thought maybe I'd go back to Waters, which was the name I was born with, which if I had to do it all over again, that's what I would do. I'd keep my original name. But now it feels like if I did that, it would be like going back in the past. So not going with that. I've been through a lot of ideas. In fact, I have come up with so many ideas that it's another day because I've changed my mind again. Y'all, I'm not playing. This is a scary thing to pick a new name, to announce that you're changing your name, and to think about what people are gonna think about that. But I gotta get over that because, I mean, thank you for watching, but I know y'all really don't care that much about my life. And so I just got to do what makes me happy. With that said, I am changing my name to Mary Betsy. Betsy is my mom's first name. She had a much bigger influence on me than my father did. She was, like so many other single moms, a strong, hold it down for her kids hero, just a hero. And I'm not saying we should start a new tradition and take mama's names. I'm just saying that this feels right to me. Plus, I love the idea that having a first name for a last name is kind of weird. I'm kind of weird, and I think it's gonna start conversations. There are so many times in life when somebody says, hey, what's your name? And then I can say Mary Betsy, and they might be like, that's weird. Betsy is your last name. That sounds like the first name. What's up with that? And then I can say, well, actually, it is a first name. That's my mama's first name. Say, what, for real? How did that happen? Well, it's kind of an interesting story, etc., etc. I love anything that creates an opportunity to share a story because I know that when I hear what other people have been through, when I listen to other people's experiences, that has a profound effect on my understanding of the world. Changing my name is not going to be cheap. It ain't gonna be easy, but it's something that I feel like I have to do. And I'm hoping that it's gonna spread some empathy, and the people might even catch a little inspo to question the status quo and look at their traditions and say, do I love these? Do they feel good? Okay, I'm gonna keep them. Or if they don't feel good, then you say bye-bye, and you create a tradition that feels true to you. Okay? By the way, I really want to know what you think. Leave a comment below and let me know, do you think that women should change their last names to their husband's names at marriage? Please don't forget to like and subscribe. It means so much. All right, bye y'all.